Single salute. I'm Lord Matre, the hip hop futurist. You're now tuned into the Super Longevity Institute podcast. Today, I have a very special guest. He is the CEO of 2114 Media Content Distribution Production and Strategic Advisory Company for the media and entertainment industries. With the core objective at 2114 Media is to empower independent filmmakers and content rights holders by helping to create effective strategy that delivers multi-tiered content monetization opportunities. His career in entertainment and media business spans over 30 years. It's a long time. It's a lot of wisdom. He holds a master's degree in business administration from Pepperdine University, Graziadio School of Business and Management, where he is also a board member. He was awarded the school's Distinguished Alumnus Award in 2018. He holds a doctorate degree from the University of West Los Angeles School of Law. Ladies and gentlemen, hip hop futures transhumanist worldwide, Quincy Newell. Welcome to the Institute. And that's just your bio is extensive. I couldn't read all of that. We're gonna go into it though. Your bio is huge.
Appreciate you, man. Nah, it's all good.
Your bio is huge. We're gonna get into all of that today because I want everybody to know what you're doing. I think it's really critical that they know what you're doing and why you're doing it. It's very important.
Yes, sir.
You was in the music industry before you got into film?
Yeah.
What was you doing in the music industry? What was some of the stuff you were doing?
Oh, man. So I started off actually promoting clubs and running my own street team. So if you remember, back in the day, I was out here in LA. Had a little street team that we were working for. We had, Arista Records and, Def Jam as clients. And also used to be part of the promotion team for a period for this club called Jamaica House out here in Los Angeles, and a couple of other clubs that those dudes were running. I was, kind of for a short period one of the promoters there, and then started doing my own nightclubs. But earlier on, I'm from a family of musicians, right? My family, had its own publishing company, but my grandfather wrote a song back in the day called "You Talk Too Much," owned a publishing company, discovered the Dixie Cups and, the Neville Brothers, and, because we're all from New Orleans. My uncle played with Little Richard, toured the world with him. With Daniel Lanois and a bunch of other folks. So kind of music is in my blood, my family. Wow. But I evolved out of that, because after I was working at the clubs or doing the clubs, I started to work for a magazine called Hits Magazine, where I was the associate editor, oversaw the retail marketing activity, and then moved over to Rhino Records, where I oversaw the catalog, urban catalog division there for a few years. And then a really, really short stint. I can't even say I worked there really long, but for Black Rock Records for like a couple of months. But unfortunately, the Queen passed away. And then that kind of shifted me into film, right? I went from there and kind of transitioned into the film business by, getting a consultant job at Paramount. And then from there, partnered up with my ex-partner, Jeff Flanagan, and I jumped in with a company called Urban Works Entertainment, and then we launched Code Black Entertainment, and then ran that whole stretch, had a good run, and now continue on doing my own thing, still in the space, and just trying to kind of fight for the culture. Really, that's what I've been doing my entire career.
Well, under your leadership at Urban Works, man, how much did you generate under your leadership? How much did you generate with Urban?
Oh,
it's a distribution company, right?
Oh yeah. Distribution company. Yeah, I mean, it was in the millions of revenue that we created for that organization. We're actually the top supplier of content targeting the AA market, or African American market, they call it. In the industry at that time, quite frankly, but definitely for that company. And then, it was the same team that moved from Urban Works to Code Black, right? Just changed the name because we couldn't take the name with us. So it's, literally since 2000, call it 2000, 2001, all the way until 2017 when I left.
Wow, I didn't know that Urban Works. I didn't know that they transformed the code because I don't know too much about the film. I just watched the films
Mhm.
like everybody else. That's another
Yeah,
reason why I wanted to
yeah.
have you on because I wanted to get an inside scoop on what the film,
Mhm.
industry is really about. Rhino
Mhm.
is a I know that name. Rhino, didn't they produce Crush Groove? Or they produced some classic hip hop movies. Any classic hip hop movies Rhino produced?
No, but what they did is they would re-release them,
They
right? So
re-released them.
yeah, so Rhino was a catalog label, right? So we would
Right.
take, like the Curtis Mayfield box set, if you've ever seen that ever, the purple box set, we did that. You know, the Ray Charles box set that has like the braille on the back. We would release the reissue of the Sugar Hill Gang rap
Yeah, yeah.
album. Um, a bunch of stuff. We did some work with Chuck D. He did a compilation, and then there was a films division that also did movies, but they didn't do many. I think they did one or two.
Mm,
I think there's a Frankie Valley or Frankie. Forgot the. It was like
mm.
a had a video division where they would reissue videos, right? And I
Right.
think Wild Style might even been one that
Wild
was
Style,
reissued.
that's right.
You
I
know?
knew I seen that. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
St.
so
Willie, they did that too. Wild Style, that's like
yeah,
my
yeah,
favorite movie, man.
oh
Shout out
yeah,
to
oh yeah,
Charlie Ahern. He's coming. We gonna get you, Charlie Ahern. You coming on the show? Yeah, man. Wild Style. I'm glad y'all reissued. That's a classic film, man. And
yeah, yeah.
the street teams, man, they the ones that put hip hop on their back and
Mhm.
really got it to the people, man. The street team that's a significant hip hop thing to have a street team back then. They
Mhm.
transformed the way marketing was doing,
Oh
the way
yeah, man.
marketing was done, man. For
That's
real.
how. That's how. Before the internet, before social media, and all
Yeah.
that stuff, street teams held it down in the cities. They would call us. But that was an interesting era because remember, that's when you were able to see artists back then. Like
Mm,
they would come to your city,
yeah.
perform at the clubs around town as a way to promote themselves because they didn't have, social media or YouTube or
Yeah.
anything yet. So now I think that's just an era that I wish it was still around, but
Me too.
I mean saw Outkast like on their promo tour, and what I'm saying, Wu-Tang Clan on promo tour. It's just I don't think you can do that today.
Nah, it's we in a different space with
Yeah.
just with digitalization.
Hmm.
That whole space is a little different. It's taking us to a different era as far as the way you put out your music, the way you put out
Oh, yeah.
film.
Yeah.
It's a whole different space.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and with your company 2114, man, uh, I went on your website, man, and I checked it out. I did my own research, and I was like, wow, what this brother's doing, man.
Mhm.
Um, you know, what was the passion that went into you creating 2114? Why did you feel the need to create this platform, this film distribution platform?
Well, I mean, it's throughout my career, I have sat in conference rooms and meetings where, we had to fight to show the value of our market, right? Convincing people, yeah, we need to be doing this. Yes, we need to, reissue Wild Style. Yes, we need to do these types of things. And luckily, I've been pretty, in positions where the folks that we've been dealing with have been pretty, you know, plugged in or at least allowed space for it. But that experience of having, like, one experience in particular was, trying to convince, a company the value of, doing maybe an Angela Davis biopic, right? And trying to explain, like, you don't understand what that means, right? Like, if that would have happened and it came out last year, or
Right.
it would have been off the hook, right? Or even
Yeah,
now,
that's like
right? It would
yeah.
have been. Um, but having that conversation, it just kind of made me stop and think, like, you know what? Why am I sitting here and trying to convince you to let me make you money off of the backs of my folks? Like, no, I'm not doing that no more. So I just decided, that I needed to just recommit to my mission, and that is to, to create opportunity, to push and advocate for us, by us, and to pay it forward, because I've been lucky enough to have experience, sit in those rooms, learn the game, learn how things work. And, I just feel that I should be, investing that knowledge in the space that matters to me.
Right.
So that was the reason. But I always try to push and advocate for that.
Mhm.
It's just that I found myself being an employee after a while. Like it turned out like, okay, my whole mission, I've been fighting this good fight for myself, right?
Right.
And then I'm now sitting here an employee, and I'm doing what I said I didn't want to do. So now
Mhm.
I'm going to go ahead and just spend the last stage fighting that good fight the best that I can.
Wow.
Yeah,
You also the dope thing about you, Mr. Noah, is that you also furthered your uh your education, which I thought
sure.
was very unique. That
Mhm.
not only are you in the entertainment business, but you also went out, got a law degree. What did you specialize in? What degree? What did you specialize in law? Was it entertainment law? What did you
Well, I mean,
specialize
it's when you go to law school, it's you learn all the law, right?
in?
Because
Okay.
you have to in order to pass the bar exam.
Oh.
But my interest, of course, is entertainment.
Mm.
I want to eventually do some civil rights work down the line. Once I learn that area better. But my primary focus is intellectual property rights,
Intellectual property.
entertainment, which is based on that contract negotiation,
Right.
and advocating. Representing folks, and I a person that's sitting on this side of the table also sat on that side of the table. So
Right.
now I think I can advocate better for my clients.
Wow. What type of at 2114? What type of people are you working with as far as filmmakers are concerned? 'Cause I did see something about hip hop on there. I did. I was like, wow, I can't. I want to see this. And it was with J. Rule the Damager, and it was some
Oh,
other people.
DJ Bonds,
DJ Bond. Yeah.
his
I want to see
documentary,
that. I want
yeah,
to see
where we're
that.
from.
Wow.
Um, he's a a DJ from LA. Used to
Mm,
run a club back in the day. It was really popular.
mm,
And he created a documentary that is going to be coming out soon, right? So yeah, it's right now in the process of getting set for a street date, and it'll be coming out sometime this year.
and you can see it
But
on
it's really about
21.
the other side of LA hip hop,
Mm,
based on his experience and his club that he used to, a club called Elements. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but
that sounds
uh,
familiar.
yeah, Club Elements out in LA. He's one of the co-founders
Wow.
of that club. Just talked about that. It's really dope. Yeah, it's really good. Actually, I'm excited for it to come out.
Wow, I can't wait to see that. I'm gonna definitely
Mhm.
check that out when it comes out. What else do you
Mhm.
got going on over there, or that might be coming out soon?
Oh
Um,
man, we have a bunch of stuff in development, right? And when you say
development.
development, it's like the whole process that happens before the project gets picked up or made or distributed.
Mm,
So we have a few. We have two films that we're developing right now. Brother Dallas Jackson is writing the screenplay for one of them.
mm,
We are, working on a partnership on the other, which I can't disclose right now. But we're looking to potentially finance it and bring it out, or
wow.
set up for production and then bring it out. We're also, you know, developing three series. One I'm really excited about. It's a series called Bit, by two young creators, two young brothers from a company called Chocolate Chip Media. We're in the development stage with that now and about to take it out to market. And then two other projects. One with we're excited attachment, but the paper is not dry, so we can't you know
I
uh,
understand.
discuss. But he's an extremely popular, um, you know, I call it iconic artist, triple
Mm,
threat artist. So we're working on a project with him, and then also another project with Brother Dallas Jackson. That's a series targeted to young adults, because we don't see a lot of stuff that are that's out there for families and kids of color that represent them. So we're working on something together in that regard. And then I'm a producer on a bunch of stuff where I contribute to the development process and some legal kind of insights and guidance as my role as an executive producer. So I have about 7 to 10 projects that are currently in development at various stages.
you had some involvement with the biopic about Tupac, All Eyes on Me, right? Were
Yeah,
you involved in that project in some
not as a producer. We were our company distributed it. So
wow.
LT Hutton is the person that we did a deal with. He was with a another film company, and they produced it, made it, and then we acquired the rights to it so that we could distribute it while I was at Lionsgate. And so then our company, me and my team, we released it in theaters on behalf of the company NLT.
Wow. You also had something to do with Kevin Hart, distributing Kevin Hart stuff early on. Like I think it was called Share My Pain or something about pain.
Oh, Laugh at My Pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, my production company produced that. The Usual Suspects Productions at the time,
Wow.
in conjunction with Code Black.
Cool Black.
So the Laugh at My Pain, I'm a producer on. My production company produced it, and of course we distributed it to our company. And then the follow-ups, I served as an executive producer, and it was helmed by my partner at the time, Jeff Flanagan. But I produced the next Let Me Explain that we also released, and then he went to Universal and has done amazing things since then. And the team that we all used to work together at Code Black now are over there, just focused on comedy.
Yeah, that was a big hit. Laugh at My Pain. That was you.
Yeah, man. Like the first one, like literally, it was me and 3 other people in the office that released that whole movie.
Yeah, wow, that was dope. I seen that joint on. That was huge.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
You did some other stuff with comedy too, right? You did something with Shaq where there was a bunch of stand up.
Oh yeah, All Star Comedy Jam series. Yeah. Produced a few of those. Our company produced all of them, but on an individual level, produced a few of the series of the concerts in the series. But also, D. Ray Davis produced D. Ray Davis's special, Gary Owen, Ari Spears.
Wow. And Zane, you did something the best.
Yeah, we released that. Lionsgate produced that movie. Our company, our division, at first, actually, Lionsgate, was trying to figure out what to do with it because, they didn't know who Zane was exactly. And then when we got there, we were like, yo, yeah, let us have that. You don't know what to do, we got it. We took it over and then we released it and did the whole campaign. Yeah.
Wow. You had your hands in a lot of dope stuff, man. Oh man, I can't wait to see what y'all gonna do with 2114, man. That's gonna be crazy. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna be following y'all because
yeah, please do, man.
The work that you've been involved with is this. It always skyrockets and goes to the next level. Let's see. I got a bunch of stuff on here. Let me just on the side note. You were avid reader also, right? I see some books in the background.
Oh yeah, well my wife she's like read a book a day every day damn near. Yeah, I am. I'm a different kind of reader though.
Yeah.
Like some people read for when they read for pleasure, they read stories. I like to read how to, how to do this. Things like the Way of the Peaceful Warrior. So I just like that kind of stuff.
I know that book. That's a good book.
Yeah.
Surfer too. Where did you learn how to surf, man?
Huh?
Where you learn how to surf at?
I was young, man. Like grew up in California. I was like probably one of in my junior high school, it was like maybe 5 brothers at school altogether. But my mom was a big beach person, and we used to go to the beach all the time. And I remember I was at Venice Beach, and I saw some people surfing for the first time. Because I'm originally from New Orleans. I moved out here when I was 9. Moved to California. Okay. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that, And she was like, okay, cool. And my mom was super dope like that, I was like, hey, I'm interested in that. She's like, oh, really? Let's go, So she got me a surfboard, and I just started getting into it. And then the school that I was at were right over the hill from the beach, over the canyon, and a bunch of kids surfed, and I just hooked up with them, and I was like, yo, teach me, and dudes taught me, and I just did it. And then there's a whole surfing association out here, Black Surfers Collective, Black Surfing Association. It's been around for a long time. Wow. So there's a lot of us that do this.
No doubt. I mean, I know you're like the second person I know that surfs. I don't know too many surfers. That's why I was like, I gotta ask him about that. That's dope.
Mhm. Yeah, whatever. Like, and when they ever tell you though,
Hmm.
like like if you think there's a film called Whitewash. I don't know if you can find it anywhere, but
Mm.
it talks about the real history of surfing, and some of the surfing was like when people were sailing to like the islands,
Mm.
and to Hawaii and stuff. They saw us ride
Mm.
on wood boards, and we're like, wow, what's that? And that's how things started to evolve. So, the whole idea that
That's crazy.
we don't swim, we don't surf. That's what that is.
Yeah, that's I
Um,
swim. I
yeah,
can swim very well.
yeah.
Put me
So
in
we
any
got
body of water.
we got roots in this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, I didn't even know that, man. That sounds
Mhm.
like a documentary right there. Shit.
Yeah, yeah. You should try it if you find that. If we find that doc, it is a doc.
Oh, it's
It's
a
actually
doc.
very interesting. Yeah.
Well, they need to do
So
a
whitewash.
wow. There needs to be some more stuff on that along those lines because I don't think a lot of black people even know that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty knowledgeable. I didn't know
Yeah.
nothing about that.
Mhm.
Man. So yep. That. So let me see.
So you in New York, right?
I'm in New York. You're based in L.A., right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Cool.
you're from New York,
I'm
right?
from New York. I'm from Harlem, born and raised in South Bronx in Harlem. I'm in Harlem right now, and
Uh-huh.
I'm just trying to get another reason why I wanted to interview you because I interviewed a guy named Black, and he wrote a dope book called Ethylene, and
Mm.
he didn't know ethylene is about. I don't know if you ever heard of Big L.
Yeah, Big L. Yeah.
Big L, he wrote the story of about Big L's life. He was there. The book is incredible, and I was like,
Wow.
yo,
Yeah.
I said, yo, bro, I was talking because I interviewed him. I said, yo, bro, why nobody picked this up? Why this is not a movie or series or something? The book is incredible. And when he broke
Mm.
down ethylene, I didn't even know that ethylene was a chemical that makes once one apple is rotten, the other apples get rotten. I was like, yo, I said, yo, this is a genius, man. I
Wow.
said, why
Okay.
this is not? I said, yo, man. He said, I don't know. I'm just, I did the book and I see where it goes. I said, see where it goes. This need to be on the screen. So I said,
Yeah.
maybe he'll see this. He'll get some ideas or something.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
said, I'm going to start interviewing some film people so how people can know how they can
Yeah.
step into that arena. They don't know.
Oh. Oh yeah. I mean, like just looking at that just for education purposes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the assumption is that when he wrote the book, he had the rights to tell the story in some way, shape, or form. Nobody's going to come and sue him, right? So if he had the rights to do it, that means he controls that intellectual property.
Mm-hmm.
In an assumption that the family or whoever is depicted in it has signed off on it, right? But sometimes they have to. Um, he has a book that he could essentially sell rights or lease rights to another party to be able to create a film or a movie about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on the film side, what we look at is like, say, if I'm going to do something about Big L,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to need his life rights
Right.
or his name and likeness rights from someone that would allow me to depict him in a picture,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, like, if I were to tackle it, I would be like, okay, I would option the rights to the book, but then I would also have to go and get the rights from the family, whoever the state is, to allow me to use his name, likeness, and his imagery, right,
Wow.
to represent him.
Interesting.
So if he's looking to figure that out, he can you can connect us and I can help him. But there's a process, and sometimes that's the barrier. Like people don't know, like why
Right.
is it coming up? People will look at it and be like, well, that's dope, but it's way too complicated because I don't know who to talk to, who to get what from.
Mm.
You never know. So,
Wow.
but it's important that people control their rights because people will go out and do it without them,
Yeah, that's true.
right? And then they'll just be sued later. They'll take the risk of being sued by somebody. But I think some of these stories won't be told because of who they are, who the characters are,
Mm.
right? People ain't gonna step in that in that world and just not be conscious of what they might be stepping into. Because essentially you're stealing somebody's shit. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. He's the only person that really. No, you're right. Because I just, it's funny you said, because I was looking at, I was watching, KRS-One did a live, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was talking about his biopic and the complications of him getting his story out. I was like, what the hell is going on? We got to tell these stories, man.
Yeah, man.
These stories need to be told. And
like, like even like with Chuck D, that would be like the Public Enemy biopic would be crazy. But then in order to tell it, you got to tell Flavor. You got to have Flavor Flav in it. Yeah. You got to have all these other folks in it, right? And that means you got to go to everybody and get their approval to use them in it. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's like such public, like news story, something like that. But so that's why it becomes complicated often when you're dealing.
Explaining that.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you for young filmmakers that's trying to get into business? What do you that already has their script written and they want to the script is written, they just want to get it filmed and they want to try to get some capital behind them so they can take it to the next level. What type of advice do you have for those people?
Yeah, so if you have the ability to finance your own picture, then you could go about it any way you want to, right? But most of us don't, right? So if we don't, then the only option, if it's a film, is you have to go ask somebody for money, right? And I think what people often don't realize is that means you're asking somebody to invest in something, right? So in any other instance where you do that, you expect to have some sort of business plan, right? So if you're investing in a company, investing in anything. So it's the same that goes with film. So if you are looking for someone to be attracted to your film, you have to put together a business plan that has elements that create value and be able to pitch it to an investor as an investment vehicle, right? And a script can, unless you're trying to sell the script to somebody, you can circulate your script around and pitch it to people or try to get an agent or whatever. But if you're trying to as a writer, try to get a project all the way through, then you have to attach elements that make it valuable, right? Now, a writer would be probably smart getting a producer on board, because a producer is kind of like the business executive of that equation, right? And then that producer would help package it. When we talk about packaging, that means putting things together like director, like attaching talent, along with, of course, having the script and having a producer on board that people respect and know that can deliver. And then getting that firmed. And what I mean firmed is getting everybody committed in some sort of letter of intent or something so that they're firmly attached to this, or at least loosely attached, so that you can then prepare your business plan with all those elements involved, right? Attached, and then create that plan in a way that states, hey, if you invest, like if you're about to launch a vodka, you have to show some level of financials. How are you going to make my money back, right? Part of it is the product. The other part is the distribution, right, that you believe this can garner. It's the same thing. Part of it's the product, part of it's your plan and your ability to secure distribution, right? That's what most people miss, right, in the equation, right? So we're kind of trained to okay, I'm gonna write a script, and then I want to get a movie made. Well, I don't know, you can do that from right there unless the script is phenomenal and then you get somebody supporting you that gets it in front of people that might want to option it. And once they option it, they basically take it away from you. Right? But if you want to take it all the way, you have to look at it from a business perspective. Okay, how do I frame this up and package this so that I can go out and get somebody to be interested in investing in this project, right? And which is really investing in the film production.
Thank you for explaining that. Wow, there's a lot that goes on the business side. There's a lot that goes into producing a film and getting it out to the public. There's a lot that goes in that we don't that the public doesn't even know about nothing about. We just
Right.
to see the film.
Yeah.
You know,
I was actually on a Clubhouse listening to Antoine Fuqua, right? Talk about uh, wait, is Antoine Fuqua? Yeah, is it Antoine Fuqua? Who's I'm about to mess up brother's name. Yeah, about his movie that he did a while back from this a writer that was a brand new writer. Sorry for the delay.
oh, so
And I'm actually going to pull up just make sure I have the right movie down and all that. He directed it. What is it? You'll know it as soon as I say it. I'll find it in a sec. And he said that it took him 10 years to get that movie made based off of the script that he wrote, right? And he did 41 drafts of that script before, by the way, that's before somebody said, oh, I like it, right? And then after he did the 41 drafts, so, I think people, need to just understand how much time goes into it, right? So people won't get frustrated because you'll write something like, okay, they've spent a lot of time writing it and then they want it to happen.
Yeah.
And that's,
right away.
Of course, right. But they don't, realize that, well, that's you that spent that time. That's development. And now you have to contemplate that there's going to be time once you decide to show it to somebody, right? So, it's, I've heard stories of, something sat around for 20 years before it finally get made. But of course, it looks like, oh, it just all of a sudden happened. But no, this thing's been lingering around for a long, long time. And a lot of it has to related to the fact that if you're dealing in the studio system, or the Hollywood system, you're dealing with other people, right? And other people have their subjective perspective on how the story should be. So you have to deal with all of that, and that just takes time. And then there could be mandates from the studio. They might not be interested in it now, like what we're seeing in the last year, all the the Black excellence.
Yeah.
Well, we've been here for a long time, right?
That's right.
We've had a bunch of Black excellence prior to this,
no doubt.
Right? All of a sudden, it's exciting, right? It's, so it doesn't mean that nothing's not valuable. It just means that when people turn around and look at it, they might not be ready for it yet.
Another thing is I always wonder why we don't have science fiction movies like black people doing black science fiction movies. Like Octavia Butler, I wish you heard about. I know you heard of Octavia Butler.
Yeah,
I wish some of her books became films. Like I wish she was still alive.
I think Ava
died. Huh?
Yeah, I think Ava didn't Ava do one of her films?
I didn't know about it. That really went over my head. I didn't even know. I would love to see more science fiction with blacks doing science fiction films.
Yeah.
I don't know why, and because I know so many scientists. I'm like, and I'm in that world. I always wondered why, we don't. Black Panther was like the first. You seen what Black Panther did, and that was science fiction. Black Panther went skyrocket. We're thirsting for it. Why are we not seeing more of these films being produced? Is it?
I think you
doesn't
will
have an interest.
No, I mean, we have to have the ability to create it, right? Because right now everything is mostly everything being through the Hollywood system, right? And that's my wife working at that house. And you just have to understand that it's gonna go through a system that exists that don't have people that look like you in decision making areas, right? For the most part. So everything that comes out is being filtered through a lens of somebody else, right? I think we'll start to see a change in that. I think Ava, one that's heading in that direction. Of course, Ryan with Black Panther, Disney made that happen or helped that happen, I should say, or participated in it, right? And then I think the more we have access to capital independently, then I think we'll start to see the broadening of the kinds of stories that are being told, right? So I think that's our challenge because we're filtered through something, so we have to deal with that system. But once we have the ability and wherewithal to create what we want, irregardless of the system, then I think you'll start to see a lot more stories. And that's part of what we're doing at 2114. We want to have that capability to do these things that maybe other people wouldn't do. But we get it and we understand it. So we're like, yeah, this is something we should be doing.
How did you build relationships with the people you're working with at 2114? Like, how does people, how do you get interest? What interests you that says, you know what, I'm going to work with these people. I know that I got something unique and it needs to be told. This story needs to be told. This film needs to be put out there. How did you get how does one I don't want to say how does it get it on your radar that you need to be working with certain people?
Well, I mean, I think you mean like individuals or companies or both?
Both.
I mean, I think at this stage in my career, my life, I want to work with my life. And I want to work with people that have the right energy, good energy, right? And also that believe in the culture, that get it, right? They don't have to look like us, but they have to be, respectful and understand what we're doing, and support it, right? But also be willing to empower, right? Because I don't want to be, constantly knocking at somebody's door, right? To let me play. If you want to play, then we're both business people, so let's look at it that way. And and let's figure out how to empower each other, right? Because my job is to work my ass off to help make you wealthy and exploit my culture. It is for us to work together to create opportunities for the culture, right? And that's how I look at it. So my choice is really kind of through a lens. I won't work with everybody. I'm not saying I have choice, like I have the ultimate choice. But I think as us as individuals, we have to stand for something or fall for anything, right? In my own personal criteria, whether I have the choice or not, I'm looking at it from that lens of like, how do we, are you really down? Are you even well, how many people do you have in your company that looks like me? But that I've always kind of been that way.
Yeah, no doubt. I feel you on that because the stuff that I'm doing as a futurist, I have a movie out on Amazon called Immortality of Bus, and I'm rapping about the future, and it doesn't really have a huge lane yet, and so I wanted to do something different, and somebody that's into science and futurism. I think that hip hop is gonna be into science and futurism just like everybody else. So I wanted to create a lane.
Tell me about that more though. Like when you say you're a futurist, I love that.
Yeah, I'm a transhumanist. We look at science and technology and see where it goes and how it's gonna predict the future. We look at the data, what's going on, like what's going on in healthcare. It's like we're gonna assume healthcare is gonna turn into something that AI has more to do with. My boy Hanson Robotics, he's building a healthcare worker robot. So, you know what I'm saying? I interviewed him. He's out in Hong Kong. So, I think that, I would like to see more science and technology applied to life extension and stuff like that. I sent you something about an architect who I've been involved with for a while. His name is Stephen Valentine. Shout out to Stephen Valentine. He created a thing called the time ship, which will be the largest structure dedicated to life extension. So, I want to get us involved in stuff that's not they usually don't. We in those fields too. Don't get me wrong. We're in we in AI. We in all those fields, but we don't see that often. We don't see us in those we don't see us in those places that often. And I want to change that, especially in the hip hop culture. I want to see somebody that says, "I'm in the hip hop. Yeah, I'm a hip hopper too, but I'm a scientist too." I want to see that.
That's right.
I'm a scientist, but my lifestyle. I'm culturally. I'm hip hop. I want that.
Yeah.
I want to see my children. I want to see the children say that. I want to see some children. I don't want to see this, just hip hop connected to just a genre of music because it's a culture, and I want to see it
Absolutely.
expand. So that's where I'm at with it. And so a guy named Zotan was running for president, and I followed him on his presidency. He's a life extensionist, a futurist also. So you get to see he made a bus that looks like a coffin. We rode in the car. I went to Alabama. I had a culture shock, but later for I don't want to get too much into what I'm doing because
Right.
but yeah, that's a little bit about what I'm what
It's really dope.
what I've
It's
been
really
doing.
very interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really
so
dope.
thank you. So but yeah, man, I think that what are some of the film festivals that people can enter to get their work out there? Because I don't see a lot of. I know about the film festival out in I think it's in France, but I don't know too much
Yeah,
about
yeah. The Cannes Film
Yeah,
Festival.
but what is the
Yeah.
other film festivals that people can like young film
Oh yeah, the ABFF Film Festival that
ABF?
takes place in Miami every year. Definitely, one of the ones definitely to go to.
Oh, okay.
Hollywood Film Festival.
Hollywood.
Tanya Kersey has one out here.
Mm.
Or Urban World in New
Urban
York.
World.
You're familiar with that. That happens every, I think, summer-ish time.
I never heard of it.
Oh, for real?
Definitely.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know nothing about film.
Oh,
I'm
okay, yeah.
learning just right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Film Festival, like 2 years, 20 some odd years in New York. Tribeca Film Festival in New York.
Tribeca.
Yeah. All of those are places where, buyers attend, studio executives attend, and films get, bought from. Obviously, Sundance is the big dog in it all. But I would say, and also Toronto in Canada. But I would say that just circulate through all of them, right? But ABFF and Urban World focus on our culture and our types of films that speak to the Black experience and also the kind of the global Black diaspora. So those are interesting festivals, but they've been around for a long time. A lot of people, Brian Coogler and Will Packer, and a bunch of folks have gone through Ava, have gone through those festivals. So, and also are still advocates of them.
Wow, that's dope. They even have a Pan African Film Festival, right?
Yeah, Pan African Film Festival. I forgot about that. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
That's my way too. Yeah.
All right, shout out Kareem though. See, I got your end, Kareem. I got your end. I know you'll be interested in that.
Yes.
Because that's my brother. He has a company that out in Rochester where he helps the urban community get ready for to work in construction and just helping them get a trade and stuff like that. So what he's doing out there is really important. But shout out to my boy. But so your streaming it's going to be like a streaming company also, right? How is it going to be set up so people can go and watch the films in the future?
Well, my company has kind of 3 functions right now, right?
Okay.
So we are a distributor.
Okay.
So we acquire rights to certain films, the distribution rights, just like any other studio would, and we distribute it on platforms and sell it into television, and if necessary or if it makes sense, even still put it on DVD. Which is it's few and far between, but that's still, there's a business that's happening still there.
Yeah.
The other piece is development and production, right? So we develop original content, ideas that we develop out, package them, and either take it out to market to get it set up somewhere, or we fund it ourselves if we can pull the finance together and go ahead and make it. We do that for both TV and film. The advisory side is kind of like, say, if some filmmaker is has a project that we think makes sense, we might shop it for them, like on their behalf. Work with us, we'll go out and leverage relationships and try to get it set up for them somewhere, and try to get it placed, right? So it may not have be a distribution arrangement, but it's like a advisory setup arrangement. And then on the digital side, as a business vertical, we're launching what we call linear ad-supported channels, which is essentially, a cable channel that's delivered over the top, right? which is not through a cable provider.
Right.
We're going to be launching a channel in Q2 of this year, which is probably going to be April, May, called Fuse Beat. You'll be able to, access it on like places like Roku, hopefully Samsung, Vizio, hopefully Pluto TV. We're in the process of actually having those conversations now. And that's really, a channel that's just for the culture. And we're working on a couple of other channels that are attached to brands that you might, be aware of, that are kind of focused on what those brands represent. And that's kind of, and then of course, I'm an attorney, so I have a law practice on the side of that I, work on. So
you're a busy guy. That's crazy. How do you find time to do all of this? Like, your time management must be on point.
You know what, man? I mean, I actually, it's funny because I don't look at it. It doesn't feel that way to me.
Oh,
right. But also, I think it's just, that's always how it's been. Right. I've always had, multiple things going on. I mean, I'm a kid that, when I was 17 of pancreatic cancer, and I'm an only child. And my family lived in New Orleans, but I had some family in LA, but not a lot. So, I was a little knucklehead back in the day, a little bit, but, I didn't want to go to New Orleans or nothing like that. I ended up being homeless out here, so, my way is literally, okay, in order for me to survive, I got to constantly be focused on survival, and I think from that, just being that, like constantly running and, I've been going to school at night, having a job and all that kind of stuff. It just became, that's how I operate, So it doesn't seem like a lot. It just, I don't know.
No, I understand. I definitely get it. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't even. I watched some of your interviews. I heard you say your background of being homeless and coming from New Orleans. So I'm glad you gave that to us here.
Yeah.
And that'll motivate other people that's in that same predicament. You can get up to Newell's level, Quincy Newell's level. You see what he got. The man is doing his thing.
Oh man, I actually wrote a book. I hope you don't mind me just mentioning it.
Please do. Go right ahead.
I wrote a book called Insights on Amazon.com, but it's Insights. If boys never learn, men won't know. And in that, and that's where I talk about, it was kind of cathartic for me. I talk about all that, right? Just grew up. And it's because, I'll be real with you. I was shocked, when you're sitting here and you're like, and you're looking back and you're like, damn, if you would have asked me if I would have been, gone through the stuff that I've gone through, that I'd be sitting here right now, I would have said no way, right? So I've come to the realization that, you really can't dictate or predict your future.
Oh, that's true.
And
I'm saying that from a future.
You cannot. You don't know, right? And your job is to keep walking. Just keep grinding, because you never know where it will take you.
That's right.
And another piece is, it's like part of it is like just understanding that you actually are worthy of anything that comes to you, right? And you are valuable, people say. And if we can, coalesce around that as a person, right? If an individual can do that, then truthfully, whatever you set your mind to, you actually can do. You may not reach the heights you might want to reach, but your ability to actually do it and execute is there for you if you choose to. The road is harder, it's a little rocky for us, as we know, right? But it's still a road, right? And as long as we keep walking down that road, we'll arrive somewhere, right?
No doubt.
So that's that's kind of the message. But it's really for young boys, right? Because I didn't have dad, and I didn't have anybody around me. I had a lot of mentors, that women, my mom's friends and all that. But I didn't have that, and now I'm a dad, and And I had to go through my own learnings about what a man actually is, not how we are told men are supposed to be. So I did a lot of that self work because I didn't know. I didn't think I knew, right? And then, came to a realization of, look, man, you need to, pay it forward if you can, right? Because there's other folks out here that are feeling like, oh, I'm never gonna. It's like, nah, trust me. Don't, no, trust me. Do these things, or at least have this mindset. You'll be shocked where you can end up, So, because I'm not supposed to be here. I don't believe so.
Wow. What can you say the name of that book again? I'm gonna put it in the description too.
Yeah, it's called Insights, and the subtitle is "If Boys Never Learn, Men Won't Know."
Wow, sounds like a dope book. I'm gonna definitely cop it. I'll put it in the description just in case anybody who's listening will be interested in reading the book, because I know that that's a book that's necessary in our community, and we could definitely learn from that, especially from your experience. Yeah, man, this was dope. Is there anything else you want to say before we head out? I enjoyed this talk.
Oh man, I appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you asking me to come on. I'm enjoying myself as well. I like having conversations like this.
Yeah, man. Well, we about to head out. Quincy Newell. Go check out his website. It's
2114
media 2114media.com. Go check him out. He's doing wonderful things, and I hope to see what he's going to do in the future. It's going to be great to see the type of films that he's going to have his hands in. One love. This is Super Longevity Institute.
Thank you, my man.
Thank you, my brother.
Appreciate you for having me on. All right.
All right. Peace.
Peace.